neuf, quatre, six, zéro, zéro, un, huit, un, cinq, zéro, un, huit, un, cinq, deux, neuf, zéro, zéro, six, deux, neuf, zéro, zéro, six, huit, deux, huit, sept, zéro, huit, deux, huit, sept, zéro, neuf, huit, six, huit, zéro, neuf, huit, six, huit, zéro.
Hypnotic. Tango. Stuck in my seat, can't move no way. The other guys know the game to play. I'm watching her, watching me, I'm getting brave. Oh, take up a ball, say listen to me. Hypnotic. Tango. Till Dominique smiles, she looks at him. Ain't gonna be no story of love. Take me to the dance floor by the hand. Give me this night in a foreign land. fit in. I scream, but isn't it sad? You scream the most effort you put in. We all scream is when you skip ads. Here's your fucking ice cream. It's your single serving savior. Right in the teeth of it. I'm sick of saving strangers that say I'm overthinking it. You gotta believe those less than famous. Snap a few photos. Okay, get famous. You gotta believe those less than famous. Snap a few photos. Okay, get famous. It's your single serving savior. Right in the teeth of it. I'm sick of saving strangers that say I'm overthinking it. I won't be your lifeboat. I'm not your fire escape. There's no such thing as God mode. Nothing but what we made. It's your single serving savior. Right in the teeth of it. I'm sick of saving strangers that say I'm overthinking it.
Welcome to the Insomnia stream, Cryptomnesia. Sounds like a weird island in the Pacific, but it's not. Edition. I'm your host, of course, Devin Stack. Tonight we're going to be talking about hypnotic Jews. Hypnotic Jews. Like this guy right here. Bernstein. Maury Bernstein. Maury Bernstein. Say hello to successful businessman, Maury Bernstein. I know you guys are, what about the Epstein stuff? I was so burned on the Epstein. The problem, it's like coming out like a fire hose. I haven't had time to sift through all the nonsense. There's a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of good stuff too. Well, by good, I mean horrifying. But, you know, I just, I'm still waiting for the fire hose to slow down. So instead of Epstein, we're talking about Bernstein. There's plenty of Steins to go around. So we got Maury Bernstein, successful businessman. He's described in this newspaper article. Now, Maury Bernstein, there he is with his father and I believe his brother at their Pueblo, Colorado firm. And, you know, as you might imagine, family came to America from Eastern Europe around the turn of the century with lots of money, apparently. They were big money in little Pueblo, Colorado. You look for old articles that involve Maury Bernstein, you're likely to find the earliest mentions of him talking about stuff like this. The Bernstein Brothers Building, $100,000 Streamline National Merchandising Center. Look at that. Is this like the precursor to the mall? Center on South Santa Fe in Pueblo, Colorado there. You also find he is involved in Zionist organizations like National Hadassah. I think they're still around. It was like a woman's version of, it's just a woman's Zionist organization. So like a Jewish club for women to support Israel. And they would basically used their social connections, because these are wealthier Jewish women, social connections to do fundraisers for, especially in this time period. I believe this is 1951, this article. So this is right after World War II. They're essentially funding Israeli terrorism. So obviously Maury Bernstein and his money is going off to organizations like this to fund terrorism in the Middle East that would later result in Israel becoming a state. You look a little bit more, you find out that he paid $1,000 for Sugar Ray's boxing gloves during his title bout with Randy Turpin. So he had plenty of money. Paid with 1,000 silver dollars. All righty. You also find out that his dad, Abe Bernstein, received a heart surgery that was cutting edge at the time, very expensive. He was one of the first patients to get it. And that as a result of this, he decided to take it easy and step down from their Jew business, which had already made them very wealthy. And Maury as well stepped down because the doctor said, "Oh, it's too much. You've all this sitting around counting your gold is really that's too much work for you. You gotta take a break." So he did take a break and became one of the directors of the bank. He stepped down from his job to become a director of the Minnequaw Bank, or one of the directors. Bottom left there. It's funny because when Jews are younger, I mean, you can still tell they're Jewish, but like the Jewiness really comes out as they age. Like it really does. Like they all end up, I mean, they start off looking kind of normal. And then by middle age, it's already there. By middle age, the Nazi propaganda face is beginning to manifest. And by old age, it's like, forget about it. So he's bottom left there with the bow tie. And if you didn't know any better, you'd just think it was just some guy. So he's just rich and bored all the time. Rich and bored all the time. And so how did he get famous? How did he get famous? Well, because he's rich and bored all the time, he decided to get into the field of hypnosis. The field of hypnosis, it really, I don't want to say it had taken off around then, but it was going strong. It had taken off around the turn of the century. I wonder why. I wonder if there's a correlation there. Really taken off around the turn of the century. And lots of people had been using hypnosis to contact spirits, to heal anything under the sun, cancer, whatever. It was this magic spell you could cast on some people, and it gave you control over their mind and body and spirit. And he was very taken with the idea and began studying hypnosis. And his experiment that he performed and made very public ended up becoming a movie. And the only reason why we're going to watch clips of this movie is he recorded the actual hypnosis sessions. We'll listen to a part of these recordings. They're really bad quality. But the movie actually pretty much, because I listened to both, pretty much word for word copies what's on the tapes. And so it's just better audio, and it faithfully depicts the sessions. And so we're going to check out some of these sessions here. But to give you an idea of what's going on here, I don't know if I should spoil it. Where did I start the clips at? Okay, I'm not going to spoil it. He's into hypnosis is all you got to know. And they made a movie about his experiments called The Search for Bridie Murphy. The Search for Bridie Murphy. It's odd. It's an odd name. Movie was made in 1956 by Paramount Pictures. And of course, this is all based on a true story. Ruth Simmons answers to Maury Bernstein's questions in the hypnotic scenes, which are authentic excerpts from the tape recordings of actual sessions. And like I said, I listened to both, and they changed a few words here or there, but not really significantly, oddly enough. So what you need to understand, I guess, the context of this is he performed, again, I don't want to spoil the fun here. He performed a hypnosis experiment on a woman. He wrote a book about it. It became very popular, and it became so popular they made this movie out of it. And this was all in the mid-50s that this was going on. He'll explain, this is the guy this is not actually Maury Bernstein. This is the guy who plays Maury Bernstein in the movie, but he intros and kind of sets it up for us. So let's have a little listen here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an account of actual events involving real people. The names have been changed, and they'll be portrayed by professional actors for obvious reasons. But as far as the motion picture medium permits it, the manner in which these events came about and the answers given under hypnosis by Ruth Simmons will be presented as they happened in reality. I want to make it clear that I am neither a qualified doctor nor a professional hypnotist. I'm a conventional businessman with a respectable 3-generation family business in the town of Pueblo, Colorado. So to show you how and why our search for Bridie Murphy came about, I'll go back and start from the beginning. One night, just as my wife, Hazel, and I were leaving our house to go to a party... Hello.
Hello. I'm trying to find Maury Bernstein.
This is Maury.
I'm Jerry Thomas. I didn't mean to bother you, but I was all set to take off for Denver in my own plane when a storm warning came through. I'm grounded here for the night. Then I remember my cousin, George Taylor, telling me to call you if I ever got stuck in Pueblo. So I'm stuck. Can you help me?
I guess I'd better. Your cousin's just about our largest account. Where are you calling from?
At the drugstore near the airport.
All right, my wife and I will come and pick you up right away.
Now, keep in mind, this is not just a story about hypnosis. It is not just a story about how Jews have used hypnosis. It's also a story about how retarded the elite are sometimes. This is a very rich goy who is calling up Bernstein because his private plane is grounded because of a storm, and he is going to stay with Bernstein at his mansion. When he arrives, he does some parlor trick hypnosis. Nothing too fancy, but he hypnotizes one of the girls there. They invite some people, make a night out of it as long as he's stuck in Pueblo. And Bernstein is so impressed by this parlor trick hypnosis, where he gets a girl to take off her shoe and just some normal stuff, that he's like, I'm interested in this magic stuff you got here, this wizardry. I'm going to go to the library and read up everything I can find on hypnosis. If I had known you could control goy with hypnosis, well, I would have learned this a long time ago. So he reads up on hypnosis and studies it and becomes quite good at hypnotizing people. In fact, he hypnotizes his wife. His wife suffers from migraines, and she's never been able to find anything that will cure it. Until one night, he's like, honey, let me try out my hypnosis trick on you. And he hypnotizes her, and suddenly the migraine is gone. He's so excited by this. He's like, wow, I never knew I'd be so good at hypnotizing people. So then he goes to the hospital, and he tells the doctors, I have this magic hypnosis power. I can heal people with hypnosis like I healed my wife. And so he starts hypnotizing little girls like this one so that she can walk. She was stuck in a wheelchair, but through the power of hypnosis. This is from his book, by the way. Through the power of hypnosis, he's getting girls that couldn't walk before able to walk. And he's curing boys from their dyslexia and their stuttering. And he's performing all this, faith healing style, via hypnosis in the hospital. And the doctors are shocked. They're like, oh my God, this magic Jew. I can't believe this magic Jew. He's healing people. Now, when are goys known to think magic Jews can heal? No, never mind. So then he invites some of his other rich goy friends over, and the topic of hypnosis comes up, and he says, yeah, I've been going to the hospital and hypnotizing the goys and performing healings and stuff. And this waspy goy says to him, well, I've actually got a hypnosis friend of my own. There's this hypnotist organization back east that was founded by a guy that cured my father with hypnosis. My father was going to die, and he saved him with his hypnosis. Now, this is the guy, and this is a real life guy. It's not, that's the thing. These aren't just movie characters. These are real life people. So the real life guy that he's talking about is in my notes somewhere, if I can find it. His name's Casey. Let me find the right notes here. All right. Oh no, I closed that tab. I'll find it. Well, actually, he'll explain it. His name is Casey. And he would perform, he was basically like a snake oil salesman to some extent. He told everyone that he learned to hypnotize himself and cured himself of all kinds of ailments. And then he started working in a small shop downtown in this small town and was curing people with hypnosis of all of their ailments. He could even cure people remotely. He could just by staying, you didn't have to bring the sick person in or anything. He could like hypnotize them from miles away and figure out what was wrong with them and cure them. He could astral project into their home and see what was wrong with them. He would go into trances and start talking to higher spirits that would gift him with sacred knowledge. He was quite the guy. In fact, New York Times even did an article about him. I mean, to show you how legit he was. New York Times said, this is let me shrink it down so you can see it there. Let's see the headline. He was illiterate, by the way. The illiterate man becomes a doctor when hypnotized. And by that, they mean he's hypnotizing himself. He's putting himself into a trance and astral projecting and curing people. And people actually took this very seriously. He spoke in front of I don't know if it was the precursor to the American Medical Association, but he spoke to rooms full of serious doctors and was given funding to do research. Eventually ended up with this huge research institute in Virginia, and he did his healing, and the people believe this stuff. So this is the guy that they're talking about in the movie. Bernstein is skeptical and says, well, I don't know, this guy sounds kind of crazy. And his rich wasp friend says, well, don't you call my dad crazy. This guy's for real. Let me tell you a story that tells you how real this guy is. And this is the story tells is part of the official lore of Casey.
A boy was brought to him with an incurable infection on his leg. He was brought by one of the very few doctors who didn't look on Casey with open hostility as a fraud. Casey used his self-hypnosis to enter into a state of trance and at once made contact with the boy on a deep subconscious level. He diagnosed the infection as bordering on the need for amputation. Then he stated that a medication existed that could still effect a cure. Its name was oil of smoke. The doctor had never heard of it. Nor could he find any reference to it in the local druggist's catalogs. So presuming that Casey had made a mistake, he went back to him. This time under trance, Casey's subconscious mind projected itself into a fairly distant town. He named the town and gave the address of an obscure drugstore where the oil of smoke could be obtained. In answer to the doctor's wire, however, the druggist sent back word that he didn't carry and had never carried oil of smoke or anything approximating it. Once again, Casey went into his self-induced hypnotic state, and this time he specified the exact shelf in the drugstore where the oil of smoke could be found. So now the boy's fate lay in the hands of the druggist, who could have well dismissed the second wire as the work of an irresponsible crank. Instead, he took the trouble to look on the shelf Casey had described. There he found a bottle which had been there, overlooked through all the years he had owned the drugstore. It was labeled oil of smoke. There was only one bottle, and the company that manufactured it had been out of business for so long that no records of its existence remained. But it did its job so thoroughly that in just over a week, the boy was safely out of any danger of amputation, and in as many days again, his leg had healed completely.
This literally changed my life. So for years, I struggled with everything. Low energy, brain fog, bad vibes. Doctors told me nothing's wrong, which is crazy because I know my body. I wasn't gonna talk about this yet because I didn't want the haters to ruin it, but so many of you have been DMing me like, Bestie, what changed? And I'm finally ready to share. It's called Oil of Smoke.
Oil of smoke!
Hey everyone, today I'm trying Oil of Smoke.
Oil of smoke!
Let's open it up. That's an interesting flavor. This is the literal condensed smoke of Native American fire spirits.
Oil of smoke!
The memory of every sacred bonfire imprinted into a sublingual oil that bypasses your parasites and speaks directly to your pineal gland.
Oil of smoke.
Yes!
I know someone!
Link in bio. Use code SMOKEJEW for 11% off and a free digital download of my 7-minute pineal activation sound bath.
Oil of smoke.
Namaste, stay smoky. I love you all.
Oil of smoke.
Get away!
She's way too old anyway.
Get your smoke on.
Now that's aura. Stupid goyams, right?
Oil of smoke!
Wanna try it?
So, yeah, oil of smoke. As we know, the oil of smoke is the amazing cure that prevents little kids from having their legs amputated. So he magically finds this bottle on a shelf from a company that doesn't exist, and it couldn't possibly be that someone snuck a bottle onto the guy's shelf, since he was like, no, I'll tell you exactly what shelf, where to look for it, if that story's even true. But anyway, so he's like, oh wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Now I believe this astral projecting hypnotist guy. I should do some of this hypnosis myself. So he looks more into this hypnosis stuff. He's really getting into it, studying it hard, wants to become the next Casey if he can.
There's such a gigantic force wrapped up in hypnosis that, handled the right way, it could stop civilization going crazy and blowing itself up.
Gee, Hazel, this is the first time I've ever seen him so head up.
Oh, he's sincere, all right. He may be knocking himself out of the ring, but he's sincere.
This thing must have a lot of other angles that nobody's learned how to contact or make use of yet. Oh, I don't mean reincarnation, that's for the birds. But some sort of universal energy that could be harnessed. Age regression, that's the beginning. Hypnotizing somebody back to their childhood. If the human brain can remember things that far back, it must be a pretty smart contraption.
I just can't get over Maury wanting to break the time barrier with his two bare hands. Look, Ma, no jet.
Oh, ha. Very comical turn, blow, Bernstein.
Oh, Maury, we're just kidding you because we love you. Hazel, let him age regress you back to your childhood, and we'll stand by with diapers and safety pins.
No, I'm afraid I'm not a very good subject for him anymore. I just sort of lie there and doze peacefully with my mind a complete blank. Makes him so mad.
Hey, Ruth, how about you? Why don't you be the guinea pig this time?
I don't know. Shall I, Rex?
I don't think so.
Now, I thought that part was kind of based. Now, in this movie, unintentionally, it kind of gives you a window into the male-female dynamic and kind of, I think, where things started to fall apart. Now, notice when Maury, the Jew, wants to hypnotize the white woman, she wants to do it, but the first thing she does, almost like a kid turning to her parents saying, "Hey, Mommy, is it okay if I go and do this?" She turns to her husband and says, "Oh, yeah, I want to do it. Hey, is it okay if I do this?" That's how the dynamic used to be. Women used to have to ask their permission or, their husband's permission to do things like that. Now, unfortunately, where it started to fall apart is men started to just give in to the whims of the women. It's kind of like, you can get angry that women can vote, but women didn't vote themselves the vote. The men gave in to the whims of the women. In fact, it's very similar. Jews showed up, said, "Hey, women, you want to do this?" And the women are like, "Can I?" And the men were like, "I guess." Which is what this guy does when he should have kept his foot down. He should have said, "No, I'm not letting some Jew hypnotize you." Which was his first reaction. But eventually he gives in because he wants to, happy wife, happy life, I guess, right? And so Maury the Jew goes in to hypnotize this woman. Now remember, this part right here is pretty much identical to the actual tapes of the session, of the hypnosis session. And like I said, we'll listen to a little bit of it. It's just the quality's really bad. You'll notice in this shot, they've got a reel-to-reel tape recorder on the table. And that's what he would do, is he would had a giant, they're rich. This was back when that was probably one of the most expensive things ever. That was like, that was probably like a year's salary for most of the people that worked for him to have that stupid reel-to-reel. And, for that, he's the rich guy that gets to play with technology. So what better thing to do than record your hypnosis session with the goy? So he records this session. And like I said, pretty much this is a reenactment, but it's pretty exactly how it goes.
All right, now rest and relax. I'm going to talk to you in a moment. And by then you'll remember the way you felt when you were only 1 year old. Only 1 year old, but you'll be able to tell me about it. Now, do you remember how you felt when you were 1 year old?
Yes.
Did you have any toys?
Had some blocks and a cotton dolly.
What did you say when you wanted a drink of water?
Wah.
What did you say when you wanted a glass of milk?
Couldn't say that.
All right, now rest and relax, Because in a moment, we're going to try and go even further back.
Haven't you gone back far enough?
Ruth, would you sooner not go back any further?
Don't mind.
All right. Now we're going to drift back through time and space. Back, as far back as your memory can go. Whatever you see, try and tell me about it. as far back as your memory can go. Can you still see yourself?
Yes.
Do you still know what your name is?
Uh-huh. Bridie.
Your name is what?
Bridie.
Well, don't you have any other names?
Bridie Murphy.
Where do you live?
In Cork. Cork.
Well, what is the name of the country in which you live?
It's Ireland. Ireland.
How old are you?
4 years old.
Are you a girl or a boy?
A girl.
What are you doing?
I scratched the paint off all my bed. Just painted it and made it pretty, and it's a metal bed, and I scratched the paint off it. Dug my nails in every post and just ruined it. It was just terrible.
Why did you do that?
I ran through the house and got a spanking.
Now, try and see yourself a little older. See if you can see yourself at 6 or 7 or 8. How old are you?
8.
Well, now that you're 8 years old, do you know what year it is?
18 something. 1806.
1806.
That's enough, Maury. Bring her out of it.
We can't stop now. Hazel, make him see we can't stop now. Doc, tell him it's not doing her any harm. She said so herself when I asked her.
No, it's too dangerous.
Rex, let me carry on a few minutes longer, please.
No, it's too dangerous.
Well, Doc's not worried, is he? He'd know if she was in any danger. For Pete's sake, Rex, now that we've come this far.
She's breathing evenly. Her pulse is a little slow, but regular. But it's your decision, nobody else's.
Rex, please.
All right, go ahead.
And there you go. Once again, the white man has the choice. And the Jew says, come on, come on. You can't let me stop now. I'm hypnotizing your woman. Look, the experts say it's okay. And the doctor's like, it's fine. The Jewish doctor, most likely. Oh yeah, everything's fine. And the guy's like, well, I don't want to ruin everyone's fun, I guess. Okay. With his head down. Proceed. Keep hypnotizing my woman with your Jew magic.
It's 1806. Your name's Friday Murphy. What is the name of your mother?
Kathleen.
What is your father's name?
Duncan. Duncan Murphy.
Is he a tall man or a short man?
Tall man.
What color hair?
Ooh, sort of reddish like mine.
Your hair's red?
Hmm.
All right. It's 1806. Your name's Friday Murphy. And you're 8 years old. What are you doing now?
Playing house with my brother.
What is your brother's name?
Duncan.
Do you play any other games?
Hide and seek. Can't find Duncan. Knows better places than me to hide.
Is Duncan older than you?
Mm-hmm.
How much older?
2 years older.
Do you have any other brothers or sisters?
I had one brother that died.
What did he die from?
He was sick. Some kind of a black something, I don't know.
How old were you when he died?
4.
How old was he?
Just a baby. He was sick, and I ran through the house and made a noise, and he died. And I got a spanking. Scratched all the paint off my bed.
Tell me, why did they name you Friday?
Bridie. Bridie.
Oh, I see, Bridie. Why did they name you that?
Named me after my grandmother Bridget. And I'm Bridie.
I see. And what are the names of any of your neighbors?
Don't have any neighbors. We live outside the village.
Oh, I see. Where does your father work?
He's a barrister. Downtown in the village. A barrister.
What town?
In Cork. He's a smart man.
All right. Now try and see yourself a little older. Can you see yourself when you're about 15 years old? Can you do that?
Mm-hmm.
And do you have a job? Are you working any place?
No.
You mean you stay at home?
No, I go to Miss Strange's day school. And I stay away from home all week.
What are you studying?
Oh, to be a lady. Just house things and proper things.
Well, do they teach you how to read at this day school that you go to? Do they teach you how to read?
Oh, they read to us, and well, our mother's supposed to teach us a lot of it. And, oh, we learn to read
You learn to read a little there.
Yes, a little.
Well, now, tell me, can you sing? Can you sing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, is there some song, some short, easy song that you'd like to sing? Just some gay little song that you remember.
Father's girls a dancing doll. Father's girls a dancing doll. Swing around and sing around. Father's girls a dancing doll.
So everyone's like, whoa, holy shit. Holy shit. He hypnotized her all the way back to a past life. A past life. Because she's not Irish. It's not the 1800s. And yet she knows all these details. She knows all these details about Ireland. She says she's from Cork. She says her father was a barrister. Her little brother died when he was a baby. She has some other brother named Duncan. She knows this song. She's even kind of speaking in an Irish accent. This is really weird. And everyone's like, I don't know what to fucking do with this. This is insane. I think you've just unlocked another power of hypnosis. You have discovered reincarnation is real. That's right. Through the power of hypnosis, you have regressed her into a past life and proven that reincarnation is real. Because she was imagining dancing around as an Irish woman and all this other stuff. It's fucking amazing. And for people wondering what that thing in his hand, because technology is a lot smaller now. That's just the microphone. I saw someone in chat ask what it was. That's just the microphone. It's kind of like it looks like a CB microphone, kind of. That's kind of what they looked like back then. but the actual recorder is like the size of a suitcase on the table. So he's like, oh, this is crazy. Oh my God. And when she wakes up, she starts crying when they play the tape back to her. There's the tape machine on the table right there. Her husband's looking at himself like, oh, fuck, what did I do? Why did I let this happen? Oh, fuck, the Jews really made things weird now. Now my wife thinks she's lived as an Irish girl in Cork in the 1800s. Oh, fuck. What did I do? I knew I shouldn't have let the Jew hypnotize her, but now it's too late. Now it's too late. So they published the story in the news that this is something that's happened. That, oh my God, this local woman was hypnotized and regressed into her previous lives. And all of these rich and powerful people, because he's a rich Jew, he's very influential and one of the richest people in town and part of the upper class, a lot of these bored wasps, I guess, are very interested. Like, oh my God, well, we already fell for that Casey guy a couple decades ago. Now we have a magic Jew hypnotist. This is cool. And so they're all very curious about this and they want to research this further. And they have a couple concerns, of course. You know, there's religious implications to what he's discovering. And so they get together. The wasps get together with a priest and a professor, and of course the woman herself there who is hypnotized, and her husband, and they discuss what, without Maury, without the Jew around, they discuss, well, what should we do about this? Like, what are the implications of this hypnosis? Now, of course, this is from his book, this conversation that he wasn't present for, so I don't know how much of this is just totally made up, but some conversation like this may have taken place.
If it isn't Ruth's subconscious mind or Maury's, where else could she be coming from?
From beyond the grave, or from outer space, or from Professor Einstein's theory of time.
In other words, you're allowing for the possibility that it really is Bridie Murphy's spirit that Mr. Bernstein invokes.
Now you put your foot in it. Reincarnation is regarded by the church as an invention of the devil, isn't it, Father Bernard?
No. More as an emotional escapism for the spiritually insecure.
Father Bernard, if I were a Buddhist, would you classify me as spiritually or emotionally insecure? Or would you respect my right to believe in reincarnation?
I'd respect it with pleasure, provided you respected my right to reject reincarnation as contrary to divine law.
You're a lot more tolerant than I took you for.
Has it ever occurred to you, Mr. Cranmer, that any sincere faith manifests its strength by its tolerance of other faiths?
Except that Mr. Cranmer doesn't happen to be a Buddhist. He's a Christian. At least I hope he is.
I hope so, too. Unless that means that I'm doomed to eternal retribution for my misspent life, eh?
I think it's time you reread your New Testament. Your misspent life has already been paid for by the suffering on the cross.
Father, as a matter of fact, I do believe that.
Along with reincarnation, I presume?
You're determined that there's just no such thing, aren't you?
Well, if there is, I'm in the wrong calling. It's in direct contradiction to the teachings of all the churches.
Reverend, do all the churches frown on hypnotism, too?
Well, not when it's used in the cause of medicine and scientific progress.
The churches only oppose the irresponsible use of it when the proper precautions haven't been taken against its dangers.
In short, when it's practiced by unqualified amateurs like Mr. Bernstein?
I have no more desire to push my beliefs down Mr. Bernstein's throat than he has to push his down mine.
Except you'd like to outlaw all experiments in age regression by hypnosis.
Well, that wouldn't be because I happen to be a priest, Mr. Catlett, but only because the subconscious mind is still an undiscovered continent for the most part. I feel it's wiser to leave the experts to explore it in their own way, in their own time.
That's exactly the way I've been trying to say it.
Well, speaking as a neutral, has Mr. Bernstein started something so diabolical that he must stand condemned for it without any further evidence on the subject?
I must say, I was only scared when they first played back that voice, and I realized I'd done the talking. Now I'm just as curious as Maury to know how she got there. What about it, Rex? Can't Maury have another session, just so that everybody here can listen and judge for themselves?
That seems fair, Mr. Simmons.
Certainly does.
It's entirely up to you, honey.
Thank you, Doc.
Big mistake. A big mistake. Once again, I guess it's up to you, honey. Big mistake. So the Protestants and the Catholics and the I guess intellectuals get together, and they're like, well, so what about this crazy Jew magic? What are we supposed to do with this crazy Jew magic? I don't know. This creates all kinds of problems. We can't have reincarnation proven as, scientifically sound. That goes against everything we believe in. But at the same time, what is this Jew magic? We must see it. And the white woman's like, yes, hypnotize me again. And the husband, of course, once again folds to peer pressure. Is like, okay, I guess you can use your Jew magic on my wife again. And so they all gather around to see the hypnosis and see if it's real. Oh my God, is it real? And of course, she's hypnotized again.
You're looking at yourself when you were in that lifetime as Bridie Murphy. Try and tell me as an observer so it won't disturb you. Try and remember how you died.
Fell down on the stairs, and seems I broke some bones in my hip. I was such a burden. Had to be carried about.
How old were you?
66.
So then Bernstein gets the idea, well, not only have we regressed you to your past life, maybe we can use this hypnosis magic to see what happens when you die. Because I've already used the hypnosis magic to bring you to this past life and to the moment of your death. Perhaps, since you can remember that, then naturally you'll be able to remember what happened right after you died, and you can tell us how this whole process works. So the Catholic and the Protestant and the professor and all those people and the husband, they're all waiting with bated breath. What is she going to say? What is she going to say happens when you die? Oh, this is groundbreaking. I can't believe this Jewish magic is unlocking this part of human existence right before our very eyes. He's making history here.
A lady came to stay with me so Brian could go to church. He didn't think that I was going to go that fast. And he was terribly upset when he came home and found out that I was dead.
You mean you can remember what happened after you died?
Mm-hmm.
After you died, could you watch them bury you? Could you watch them bury your body?
Oh, yes, I watched them ditch my body.
What do you mean, ditched your body?
Put it in the ground. For good.
Did you try to tell anyone you were watching them?
No, I was tired.
They ditched your body where?
I wasn't allowed on the hallowed ground.
Oh, you went on hallowed ground. But you did realize that you hadn't died when your body died.
I always wanted to tell Brian. He was so worried that he didn't say enough prayers or go to church or nothing. Something all the time.
And just as a reminder, this is pretty much the tapes. Pretty close, almost exactly. I'm going to play a little difference at the end here, but almost exactly how the actual session went. Almost word for word.
Did they have a wake for you?
No, I told Brian I didn't want anyone to be unhappy or mourn for me.
I see.
I was such a burden. I was happy just to go to sleep.
Can you tell us where you went after that?
I stayed in the house with Brian.
Did you try and tell Brian you were there?
He won't listen.
Do you think if he'd really tried, he could have heard you?
I don't know. I think so.
You're not sure?
Oh, I just wanted him to so bad.
Could you tell what he was thinking about?
If I thought about it, I could know what he was thinking. I knew when he needed me, and he missed me after Father John didn't come to the house anymore. He was lonely.
Rest and relax. Rest and relax.
So now everyone's like, holy fuck. This is crazy. She talks about living as a ghost, haunting her dead husband, and she's kind of stuck in this weird limbo, and no one can see her, but she can see everyone else. And this is crazy shit. We're unlocking the secrets of the universe with this Jew magic. So they try one more session. They're like, okay, we got to know more about the afterlife. Now that we've got her to tell us about her past life, the fact that she can remember being a ghost, maybe she can tell us more about this ghost world.
Now, you told us that you went from your house in Belfast back to Cork after you were dead. How did you get from Belfast to Cork?
I just willed myself there.
You did what?
Willed myself there.
How long did it take you?
I don't know. It wasn't any time.
Why did you go back to Cork?
Back to see my brother Duncan. He was still alive, and he was so old.
Did you ever let Duncan know that you were there?
No. He wouldn't listen either.
Well, in this afterworld, did you have any feelings or emotions?
You were just satisfied.
Was it better than your life on Earth?
No, it wasn't full enough. You couldn't do any of the things, couldn't accomplish anything.
Were you ever unhappy?
No, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Well, in this afterworld, did you have all your senses? For instance, could you touch things?
No.
You couldn't touch things?
Oh, you could see.
You could see?
And you could...
You could see, but you couldn't touch.
You could hear.
You could hear. All right, I see. Well, in this afterworld, were there such things as sickness or death?
Oh, there was no death. You just passed from one existence to another.
Was there any old age?
There were old people. I was old. I was 66.
Did you get any older?
No.
Did you have to obey any regulations or laws of any kind?
No.
No laws or regulations?
No.
Nobody guided you? Nobody gave you any instructions?
No.
You just went where you willed to go?
Yes.
You just did what you willed to do?
Yes.
Well, did you ever eat anything?
No. Never eat, never sleep, never get tired there.
How did you spend all your time?
Just watching.
Did it seem like a long time, or did time mean anything?
Doesn't mean anything.
You didn't pay any attention to time?
No night or no
Did you ever have any pain?
No.
No pain? I see. Well, were there any such things as love or hate?
Love those you left behind.
Well, in this afterworld, did you have any attachments of any kind? Any family attachments or relatives?
Oh, my mother. I didn't see my mother. My father said he saw her, but I didn't.
You didn't see your mother?
No.
But your father told you that he did?
Yes.
How did you speak to each other?
Just like we always did.
Did Duncan join you after he died?
No, I didn't see everybody I knew. There were lots of people there I didn't know.
Well, who did you see that you knew?
I saw my little brother that died.
Could he talk to you?
Yes, he said he just remembered some things about me, but he didn't remember my mother or the house. He remembered some things about Duncan, but no, you couldn't talk to people very long. They'd go away.
Well, could any of the people in that afterworld speak to any of the people who were still on Earth?
No.
You never saw it happen?
Tried. Lots of people tried to talk to people, but they wouldn't listen.
Well, while you were in that afterworld, could you tell the future for the people on Earth? Could you look at the people on Earth and see what was going to happen to them?
Yes.
You could?
Yes.
You could see the future?
Yes.
What makes you say that? Give us an example.
I saw a war. A man there said there was going to be a war. That was before I was born. You knew what was going to happen if you were there.
I see, all right.
It didn't concern us.
It didn't concern you. Can you tell me how you finally left that world?
I left and I was born in America again. I was born in Iowa.
Do you remember how you were born again? Do you remember how it was possible for you to be born again?
I don't know it. It just happens. And you just don't remember. You remember some things, and then all of a sudden I remember just being a baby again.
Oh my God! Oh my God! All right, I'll turn this off. There we go. So in the movie, they cut it off there, just because it obviously was getting a little long. But that's the gist of it. That's basically what's on the tapes. That's the experiment that he conducted, and then he wrote his book, and it became a sensation. In the movie, of course, they talk about how he wants to write the book. I thought this was a little odd. In the movie, I almost wonder if there was something going on between the Jew and the wife. Because in the movie, and there's no reason for it, like it seems kind of out of place. In the very beginning of the movie, after the first session, the Jew's wife is like, "I think you're in love with Bridie Murphy." And he's like, "What? What are you talking about? I'm not in love with her. She's been dead since the 1800s. Well, I think I'm jealous of her." And then there's a scene after this last session where the husband's like, "Well, he's writing a book. I don't know. I think he has a thing for you. And I don't know if I like this book." And again, they never show him doing anything like that. And it's a little weird that that's even in the movie, and which I haven't read the book, but I'm assuming that's in the book. And it doesn't, they never go any further about it, but they have both spouses kind of freaking out about maybe some relationship. So anyway, there's that. He goes to New York in the movie and in real life to go see a publisher. And the publisher says, well, we're having trouble. This could be a good book, but we sent some people out to Ireland to try to verify some of the facts, maybe try to find her grave or whatever. And we're having a little trouble verifying it because, documents weren't as good back then. And so it would be nice if we had it, but we could probably still publish it anyway. And he does, some more sessions, but in the movie, they try to make it, because it's a movie, they have to have it, make it kind of climatic or whatever. And they have some trouble where, like, they almost, don't get her out. But he's also asking her, like, oh, where's the documentation? I need documentation for this book. And she's like, well, I got married in this church. And she's like giving more details for him to check out. And, but then she regresses into like another life. That's even further back, and they almost lose her. And thanks to the magic hypno Jew, he's able to snap her out of it just in time before she's stuck forever as a colonial era child in Illinois or something like that. The end. And that's literally the end. So this is really him. Notice, see, he's older now. The Jew face it's kicking in. What did I tell you? Middle-aged. It's already there. He went from like kind of normal looking guy to like, there it is. There's the Jew face. there's the shifty looking Jew face. So there he is with his tape recorder, and he is in all the papers now. This book becomes extremely popular. You start looking for articles, and one of the things that struck me is, in addition to obviously all the press this was getting, a weird amount of newspapers were publishing the first chapter of his book alongside it was marketing. I don't know if that was common back then, but it seemed a little odd to me that all of these newspapers around the country were writing these articles about this, amazing discovery that this Jewish hypnotist had made by regressing this white woman into her past life as Bridie Murphy, a woman who lived in Cork, Ireland, and then gave the free first chapter of the book, which, by the way, if you want to buy it, it's on sale now. So if you want to know how this story ends, you better buy the book. So it was published all throughout the country. There's papers pretty much in every state that had stories about this, many of which, like I said, published the first chapter. It started this big national conversation about reincarnation. Here's one headline. Some say reincarnation is established fact. Others, prominent in psychology, say it's not so. And so there was this big thing going on. There was a bunch of clergy, of course. You can find lots of articles talking about different pastors who are freaking out about this because obviously, reincarnation goes against the Christian view of the world. But people were getting really excited about this. Here's a notice I found. The Brooklyn Theosophical Society was going to have a big meeting about it. The Stupendous Living of Bridie Murphy, reincarnation tape recording by Mr. Isidore Rabinowitz, of course. Mr. Isidore Rabinowitz was going to come to the Brooklyn Theosophical Society and play the tapes because they were bootlegging the tapes at this point. Very few people actually had access to this. And then there was articles writing about how all of a sudden hypnotism was in high demand because all these housewives were reading about how this woman was regressed into her past life, and she had this romantic past as this young girl in a small Irish town, and this tragic story of dying before her husband, and haunting the house and then meeting her dead brother and all these things. It just sounded really cool. And suddenly housewives all across the Anglosphere wanted to be hypnotized and regressed into their past life so that they could find out who they used to be. And that would be more interesting than their current life. And so this was it was starting to catch on. It created this whole industry, and the hypnotists that already exist were getting tons of phone calls. They were getting flooded with phone calls to regress housewives into their previous life. Another thing I found a lot of when searching newspapers, where apparently libraries would announce. I thought this was kind of quaint, kind of interesting. It shows a difference in the times that we live in, where libraries would post notices in the newspaper about the new books they got in. And I thought, how about that? Like, imagine that kind of lifestyle. Imagine living in first of all, where newspapers are, that's your internet, basically, is a newspaper. And the radio, obviously, but you're getting the newspaper every day. And of course, the only way to find out what books you have access to at the library is there's the notification. And then you have to go to the library and get a copy of the book. And libraries were buying them up, lots of copies, because lots of people wanted to read this, and stick it in, stocking their library full of this book. And another thing you might notice, it's listed in nonfiction. So they were buying these books up and sticking them in the nonfiction section. The Search for Bridie Murphy by Maury Bernstein. Another thing I thought that was kind of funny, there was college kids that were throwing Bridie Murphy parties. This was a fraternity, I think, that threw a Bridie Murphy party. And the theme, and I guess this was like a craze that swept the nation, where you would dress up as the person that you thought you were in a past life, and they would try to hypnotize each other at these parties. And I'm sure nobody got laid. So that was kind of interesting. And then, of course, the movie came out in 1956. That's the movie we just watched clips from, which I like I said, it was almost exactly what the tapes sound like. So you had this big time Hollywood film that was bringing it to the silver screen. And once again, this is before the internet. This is before really a whole lot of TV. In fact, big parts of the country did not have TV at all to speak of. Maybe they could pick up a channel if they were lucky in some of these areas. But you could always go to the theater. And so this was your only way of seeing content, if you will. So they went and saw The Search for Bridie Murphy, and it was presented as if this was, kind of it was a docudrama. This wasn't fiction. This was nonfiction, just like the library says. And then I found this interview from the husband that was always like, oh, I guess. And this is a quote from him. He said, "If I'd realized there was going to be so much hullabaloo over Ginny because of that was her name, his wife's name, because of Bernstein's book, I'd never have permitted her to be hypnotized." Well, you should have thought of that before, hindsight, being what it is. We're counting the days till the rest of the world gets around to treating us like normal human beings, the way Pueblo does. You see, Ginny added, that's his wife, there are the children to think of, too. See, this is another culture shock difference. She's worried. There's women out there that don't give a fuck. They'll go on OnlyFans and don't give a fuck about what their kids might find out about them, with the stuff that's on the internet. She's worried about this. She says, for a long time, we were in fear of the day when one of them would come home in tears because somebody told her that her mother was a spook or a witch, that hobgoblin, Bridie Murphy. So she's worried that her kids are going to find out that she was hypnotized and regressed to a past lifetime, and that was going to, be an embarrassment for the family. There she is right there. That's the actual woman. Real life, Bridie Murphy leads a normal life, thinks more of future than her famous past, and she was just trying to forget about it. In my opinion, and I think that especially if you listen to the tapes, it seems very clear what's going on was not an act. She was not putting on a show. She was not trying to participate actively. She really was hypnotized, and all of this was being suggested to her, and her brain was coming up with stuff. We'll get into the Cryptomnesia aspect of this here in a moment. There was even a comic book at the time that was very popular, Uncle Scrooge with Scrooge McDuck. This is way before DuckTales and all that stuff, but same kind of characters. And there is a episode where Scrooge McDuck gets hypnotized and regressed into a past life where he's a distant relative of his, and just to show you. They also had a copycat movie that came out, I believe, the same year, 1956, called "I've Lived Before." The same, pretty much the same thing. That still happens, right? It's like Deep Impact, and what was the other one? With Aerosmith's daughter in it. The asteroid. Anyway, there's 2 asteroid movies. Now there's 2 volcano movies. Now there's this. So the same thing happened with that. There was also hit songs that were made about this. Like I said, this wasn't like a small thing. It's just something that many of us have never heard of because it's 1956. This is a song called "The Love of Bridie Murphy" by Robert Sherman, performed by Billy Devereaux. Deliveries, or whatever that is.
Oh, the love of Bridie Murphy lives in my heart all the time. Oh, I've met an angel that heaven has sent. Now I know what is meant when they say there's no greater thing than the joy true love will bring. Oh, the love of Bridie Murphy.
There was another song, "The Ballad of Bridie Murphy" by Fran Allison.
Come back, come back, come back, Bridie Murphy. Back to the place you once knew, to the land where you were so happy, and to those who loved you so true.
My name was once Bridie Murphy, so many long years ago. I lived in beautiful Ireland. 'Tis the loveliest place that I know.
So, it was a big deal. It was a big sensational thing. Now, here is another thing they sold. They actually sold the tapes on record. So you could buy a copy of the first experiment for 35 cents, apparently. The Search for Bridie Murphy. So this is the real life session here.
I want you to keep on going back and back and back in your mind. And surprising as it may seem, strange as it may seem, you will find that there are other scenes in your memory.
And just like that, there's the suggestion. That is one difference from the movie and the real tapes. because he regresses her to childhood in the real experiment and in the movie. I think, most of that out. And she describes her real, childhood, describes her real teacher and her friends when she was young, and the name of her dolly and this sort of thing. And then after he regresses her to childhood, he then says, oh, we're going to go back further than that. And we're going to make you 1 year old. And then he makes her, oh, now you're an infant. And then he says, now we're going to go even further than that. And as surprising as it might seem, there is something after that. Well, if you're in a suggestive state, if you're hypnotized, you're essentially you're doing directed dreaming. And the director of your dream just told you that before you were born, there's more stuff. You didn't come up with that on your own. You were told, now there's more stuff.
There are other scenes from faraway lands and distant places in your memory.
Other scenes from faraway lands, distant in your memory.
I will talk to you again. I will talk to you again in a little while. I will talk to you again in a little while. Meanwhile, your mind will be going back, 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 and back until it picks up a scene, until oddly enough you find yourself in some other scene, in some other place, in some other time.
Oh my God, he's telling her exactly that you're going back before your time in a faraway place. So you are now being told, dream about some place that's not here, that's further back in time.
And when I talk to you again, you will tell me about it. You will be able to talk to me about it and answer my questions. And now just rest and relax while these scenes come into your mind. Now you're going to tell me what scenes came into your mind. What did you see? What did you see?
Oh, scratched the paint off my bed. Just painted it and made it pretty. It was a metal bed, and I scratched the paint off of it.
So that's where we get to the movie where we were listening to her talking about scratching the paint off of her bed. So she's been told to come up with a different scene. She comes up with that, which is what happens if you're under hypnosis. Another example of this, of course, is during that, because hypnosis keeps rearing its ugly head and the goy keep falling for it. You had a lot of the alien abduction regressions that happened in the 1990s, where you had hypnotists essentially convincing unstable people that they were being abducted by aliens. And if you listen to the recordings, it's the same kind of language. They're not asking you just, with a blank slate, hey, what are you seeing? They're saying, how tall are the aliens that you see? How big are their eyes? What does their spaceship look like? And so the scene has already been set. It's almost like they're an AI. It's like if you go to an AI image generator and you type in these prompts, it's going to come up with something that's going to kind of, if I go in right now to an AI image generator and I say a faraway place, a faraway time, it might very well, it's going to be kind of random, just like a human mind, but it very well could come up with the 1800s in Cork, Ireland. If you give it a prompt that, hey, aliens and spaceship, it's going to come up with the same kind of stories.
Ditch them.
What do you mean, ditch them?
Put them in the ground. For good.
At this stage, it will be noted that the subject has begun to talk with a slight brogue. Furthermore, as the experiment progresses, her Irish lilt becomes even more distinct as she drifts more and more into the identity of Bridie.
See, and that should have been a clue too. As she drifts more and more into the identity. Well, if you're literally time traveling someone to this new identity, wouldn't it be immediate? Why is she slowly drifting into another personality? Well, it's because it's developing as the story goes. It's because the Ireland part probably hasn't even materialized in her head when she's talking about scraping paint off of a bed. That's just like some scene that popped up in her head, scraping paint off of a bed. And then as it got more and more detailed, as the prompt got more and more detailed, then she started describing it, more accurately to fit in this Irish world.
And during a later experiment, when a different technique was employed, her brogue became very pronounced.
Yeah, that different technique was they started off telling her from the very beginning, instead of saying, hey, I'm taking you back to a faraway place in a faraway time. What do you see? Instead, it was, like I said, it was a more detailed prompt. The prompt was, you're in 1806 in Cork, Ireland. Your brother's name is Duncan. Your name is Bridley Murphy. What do you see? So now she already has all this information and takes on the character immediately because she's given a more detailed prompt.
Here, the subject's answer brought about an entirely unexpected turn in the questioning. Up to this point, the hypnotist had not intended to ask the subject whether she had been conscious of any events which took place after her death. But now such a question seemed necessary. Bridie said that Brian had been upset because he had not been present at the scene of her death. But if Brian had not been there, then how could Bridie have known that he had been upset after her death? There was only one possibility.
Yeah, the possibility is she's having a dream. Not that she was literally regressed to like the afterlife.
Do you remember how you became born again? Do you remember how it was possible for you to be born again? Tell us about that.
That's just, I don't know how it happens, but I just remember suddenly I wasn't, just a state, I know, it's a baby.
Did anybody select the body that you inhabited? Did anybody select the body?
I don't know, but...
How did you know what body? How did you know what country to go to? How did you know all those things? Who took care of all those details?
And by the way, he's also the one that introduced the idea that she was going to be in another body. She didn't say, and now I'm in another body. She said, I'm this old woman ghost floating around and my brother can't see me and stuff. And then the Jew says, oh, well, yeah. What now? You're going to go into another body. How do you know that? And so she's like, oh, and again, he's adding to the prompt.
It just seems like it just happened that you just don't remember, and you remember those things, and then all of a sudden I remember just being a baby again.
Well, could any of the people in that spirit world, talk to any of the people on the earth?
Don't know.
You never saw it happen?
No. Never saw them try. Lots of people wanted to talk to people, and they just wouldn't.
You lived in Ireland, and you married Brian McCarthy. You died when you were 66 years old, and then you spent a long time in the spirit world, and then you were born in America. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
So he keeps reinforcing, because obviously we've all had dreams. You know that dreams often take weird turns. So throughout his hypnosis session, he has to keep, you know, just like with an AI prompt. An AI prompt, if you put in information and tell it to make a long video, it loses the plot. Like it starts to go off into crazy town if you don't have enough prompt to let it know exactly what it should be doing for every moment. It'll just start imagining random shit and you get weird stuff. And the reason why I keep bringing up AI is AI, you know, these neural networks, they work. I mean, they're based on a brain. They're based on the human mind, or really any mind. And so that's why you're having similar behaviors. In fact, we'll get to AI hallucinating and how that relates here in a second.
Number 5. Number 5. Number 5. You're completely relaxed and feel fine. Number 5. Now you can awaken and feel fine.
So this is her waking up from it.
Yeah, this cloth. You might want to. Feel all right? Tell me what you remember about it. What do you remember about the whole thing?
I don't remember anything. Am I supposed to remember something?
So it sounds legit. She really is confused, just like you would be if you woke up from a dream. A lot of that stuff just goes immediately out the window. You might have some vague, you know, sense of what the dream was like, but that stuff, your brain throws that in the trash pretty quick, or else we'd all go insane. So this is the story that captivated the country, and it's continued on. It's not just something that went away. In fact, when Maury, was it Bernstein, right? When he died in 1999, he still had followers. He still had believers. There was a New York Times article written about him that didn't say that, oh, he's a fraud or whatever. It just said, oh, there's still believers. And in fact, I found this interesting. There's a new show that's out right now by Billy Crystal, where he got the idea for his show. Well, it's not a new show. It's from 2024, but, you know, comparatively, compared to 1956, right? It's a show on Netflix that he got the idea from this case, which he asserts is a true story.
Great, I'll get it down. Hey, everybody, you know who that is. It's Mr. Billy Crystal. Now you're executive producing and you're starring in a new show on Apple TV Plus. It's called Before. It's scary. Critics are calling it horror.
It's unnerving.
Unnerving.
You've been watching the show?
Yes. I understand that the idea for the series came from you.
Yeah.
What was it, and how? What inspired you?
It's a very circuitous route to getting to what Before is. My grandma, her family came from Russia here.
Oh, imagine that. Imagine that. Also a Jew whose family came here from Eastern Europe around the turn of the century. Is it all of them? Is it all of them? I feel like it's all of them. It is all, like what's going on here? Like I don't do this. I don't go looking for this. I don't even know how this happens, but it's true. It is all of them. Maury Bernstein and, Billy Crystal continuing the lie anyway. So he tells us, my grandma came here from around the turn of the century from Russia.
In the interim, my son-in-law gave me this book called Life Before Life, which was really fascinating. It's about kids who present with past life experiences, right? They're 2 or 3 years old. They say, "You're not my mommy. Where's my mom? I want to go back to my other family," right? Because I had given him this book called The Search for Bridie Murphy. Do you remember this book?
No.
All right, Bridie Murphy was a true story. 28-year-old woman goes into hypnosis and describes in full detail her life as Bridie Murphy in a town in Ireland 200 years before. And it was fascinating. It was really fast. So I gave him this book, and he gave me this book about life before life. So we're in a writing meeting, and we weren't getting anywhere. with this 100-year-old guy thing. I said, no, wait a second. What if he's not 100? What if he's 8? But he still has these memories.
So he makes his Netflix show, or I guess Apple TV show, based on this true story.
I've been accused of not being myself.
You've had a successful career helping troubled kids.
It's okay.
Can you identify the moment that changed?
Yeah, of course. It's the day my wife died. Then?
What's with the farmhouse?
Just some picture I found.
From my past life where I used to live. So he made a movie about basically the same kind of a thing. Anyway, so it turns out, once the book became a bestseller and a movie and all of these other things, every detail that was in the book was checked out by reporters that were sent out to Ireland to try to track down the background of this Bridie Murphy woman. And then that's when the first cracks started to appear. And again, this reporting took place right, 1956, 1957, this long time ago. Bridie said she was born on December 20th, 1798 in Cork, and that she had died in 1864. And there was no record of anyone by that name either being born there or dying there. There was also no evidence of a wooden house called the Meadows, which is what she said. She lived in a wooden house called the Meadows. There was in fact, there was no place that really matched the description at all. Most houses in Ireland were not wood at that time. They were made out of brick and stone, because if it was made of wood, it would, I don't know if you've been to Ireland, it rains a lot, and it would have rotted, and there's not like, a bunch of forest to get the wood from anywhere. There's a lot more rock and stone laying around than there's nice lumber. But as an American wouldn't know that. Another thing is she pronounced her husband's name as Cian instead of Sean, which is how you would have pronounced it in Ireland and in America now, right? She also said that her husband was working at Queen's University Belfast, and that did not exist at the time that she said her husband was working there. She also said that Brian is what her husband preferred to be called. It was his middle name. And let's see here. Brian. Oh, hold on. My notes are all over the place. Brian, which is that Bridie preferred to call her husband, was also the middle name of a man whom Virginia Tighe was married. Tighe claimed Bridie went to St. Teresa's Church, which did exist, but it was not built until 1911. So it was an actual church, but it did not exist when she was there. And then it turns out they do some more digging, and they find out that the woman was raised by a Norwegian uncle and his German, Scottish, Irish wife, and that both her birth parents were also Irish, and that she had lived with her Irish parents until the age of 3, and that an Irish immigrant named Bridie Murphy Corkle, which this pretty much is the big zinger. An immigrant named Bridie Murphy Corkle lived across the street from her childhood home in Chicago when she was growing up. And that the real Bridie immigrated to the U.S. in 1908, And although she claimed that she didn't know Mrs. Corkle's maiden name, Bridie's spinster sister, I love that, Margaret Murphy, was living with the Corkles in the 1930 census. Researchers noted that many of the elements that Virginia described in Bridie's life corresponded to ones in her own childhood. Similarly, she had used an Irish brogue, accent in theatrical plays as a teenager. So then how did she have the Irish accent all of a sudden? Because she was, of course she was in drama class, right? She was a drama kid, of course, right? She was a theater kid. Who would have thought? She was a theater kid, and she played characters. She had learned how to do an Irish accent to play characters who were Irish in plays when she was a kid. So that's where you get to the cryptomnesia, which is, as I mentioned earlier, very similar to when AIs hallucinate. Now, what I mean by that is she wasn't deliberately coming up with this story to try to, be interesting in this environment. She seemed to want nothing to do with it. She seemed very, very embarrassed by it. And as you can listen to on the tape, she sounds legitimately hypnotized, and she sounds legitimately surprised when she is awoken that anything had happened. She was very upset when they played the tapes back to her. And so she was hypnotized, and she was given essentially AI prompts. And what she did is she spit out garbage like an AI will sometimes for the same reason. When you ask an AI, like I have done before, in researching streams, and it tells you a bunch of, it's detailed sometimes. It'll come up with some really, I remember a couple times I was asking it to tell me about because I remembered there was some kind of black sniper, not the DC sniper though, and I was trying to think of who it was. And it came up with a name, it came up with a date, it came up with the names of the victims, the ages of the victims. It had this whole timeline of events for this black sniper that had killed people in Connecticut or something like that. And I was just like, damn, I'm surprised I never heard of this case. And then I look it up, and it's because it never happened. Now, all these things that it told me were things that were coming from its memory. These were real names of real people, and they were, because if you actually search the names of the people that it mentioned, they would come up as people, just not any of the people that were involved in some kind of shooting event with a black sniper. And the same thing with the name of the black sniper. It was some other guy. It was, it was a historic event. But when asked to come up with something where it doesn't have an answer, sometimes AI just spits out stuff from its memory and hallucinates in the same way someone under hypnosis, given a prompt, will spit out garbage that they think will satisfy the prompt. Because in many ways, although we are, at least for now, more complex, our neural networks are more complex than those of AIs. They essentially work in much the same way. And so that is essentially what was happening. She was giving hallucinations in the same way that an AI would spit out hallucinations. But really what it gets down to, the moral of this story is Maury Bernstein managed to hypnotize a white woman after convincing her husband that it would be a fun thing to do. Did a parlor trick, essentially. Parlayed that into a successful book, a best-selling book. Parlayed that into a movie deal. Sold records. Inspired songs. Got lots of money off of it. Changed the national conversation to some nonsense about reincarnation, upset the American culture in a way that a Jew, with the help of all of his Jewish friends that worked in Hollywood, that worked in publishing, only a way that they could. The housewife that was hypnotized and, hallucinated all this garbage, she didn't get a dime of that money. She didn't get any kind of reward. What fame she got, she didn't want because she thought it was embarrassing. But Maury Bernstein, successful in business, was laughing all the way to the bank that he was a director of. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of Bridie Murphy. Like I said, that many people still today believe in, even though you look at the history and it's obvious that she came up with the name because of an Irish neighbor that lived across the street. The stories that she told were stories that were similar to stories of her own childhood. And all of the fact that, just the idea of going back in time in a faraway place was implanted there by the Jew. And it's so obviously fake, but Americans believed it. And this isn't super long ago. Yeah, that's something that is surprising to me too, is so often people will wonder, how do people fall for this? People fall for the stupidest shit. They believe in the stupidest shit. This has always been the case. Right now, there is something going on. Well, QAnon is a good example. That's a glaring example. But more than that, there is, and in fact, from what I understand, there's an Epstein QAnon connection, but I need to look further into that. But Americans right now, you fast forward 40 years from today, people will look back, or I guess more than 40, right? This is like 70 years ago. But people will look back and say, holy shit, how did the whole country get wrapped up in this really stupid shit that was obviously fake? Because some Jew said that he had some magical hypnosis power. So anyway, there we go. We're going to take a look at the hyperchats. And, of course, we have one in particular that we always have on Odyssey. The one and only Odyssey person. We got Love and Division. Love and Division. Love and Division. Love and Division says, Devin, I'm expecting BTC to go towards 40K. Okay, that's all. That's all you have to... Let me see. I don't keep up with what's going on here. That seems low. I thought it was going up. Is that going? I don't even know. Oh, it's going down for sure. In one day, it's down 7%. Oh, it's a big drop. Okay, 5 days, it's down 14%. Okay, so it was up to 83,000 5 days ago, and it's down to 70,000. And Love and Division believes it'll go down to 40,000. Let's see here. Yeah, and earlier in the month, it was 96,000. I thought it was like around 100,000. Well, that's the thing, is anytime you allow Jews into the system, this is what you're going to see. someone's making money. Someone's shorting it. Looks like a few big dips. Yeah, who knows? I don't know. I'm not a crypto bro. I don't have any good insight on that. Sorry. Yeah. That sucks, I guess, if you're a crypto bro out there. But thank you very much. Love and Division. All right, then we're going to go over to Entropy. And we got Nostranazi. Nostranazi says, slacking on the donos lately. My bad. Glad you're feeling better and hope you are finding some time to enjoy the beautiful southwestern non-winter. Anything planned coming up in honor of Black Bullshit Month? No, maybe. I mean, I don't have anything planned right this second. I kind of forgot that it was because they haven't been making such a big deal out of it like they have in previous years. But maybe, I mean, I'm sure that there's not like there's not enough material. You know what I mean? So maybe we will look into that. Maybe I'll look into see maybe something for Saturday. Then we got Richard. Richard says, unrelated to the video, but someone I knew a long time ago was recently killed in a one-punch attack. The culprit was only sentenced to 6 years in prison while having over 20 previous convictions, including serious assault. I hate this judicial system. Can I get it sounds Talmudic? If I can find it. My desk is, I've been rearranging things still. It's been like, I've been saying this for like a month because I'll explain later why there's so much chaos over here, but there's a lot of chaos over here. Where is it? Where is it? Here it is.
It sounds Talmudic.
It does sound Talmudic, Richard. And that sucks, but that is the way it is. I'm sure if that same person had done something racist, they'd be in there for life. Well, hopefully, well, I can't. I was going to say something that I can't say, but, maybe justice will find that person someday, right? Karma is a bitch, as they say. All right, we're going to go over to Rumble. All right, Rumble, we got the Supreme Rabbi Satan says, Oy vey, you skipped my big dick shekel dono on Saturday. Well, I apologize. See, this is the thing. It doesn't, I mean, I don't know if you sent it on Rumble. They don't show up the way that they should. Let me look it up here. I apologize. I feel like it's getting worse too. Like, I feel like the last few streams, it's been like missing these, and then you guys get mad, like thinking I'm an asshole, but it's not me. I just don't get the notification here. Let's see here. I always have to find it too. At this point, I should just fucking bookmark it, right? Count settings, no. Chat settings, no. Stats? Dashboard? Isn't that where it goes? Here we are. I think that's where it goes. Okay, is that it? No. Is it... Fucking find this. Stats and analytics. Okay. Count overview, maybe? There it is. Right where you would expect it to be, a count overview. All right, let's take a look here. The Supreme Rabbi Satan. Let's see what you got here. The Supreme Rabbi Satan. Backing up here. Back it up. Back it up. I'm not seeing it. Did you send it on this? Oh, here it is. All right, we got Supreme Rabbi Satan with the big dono.
Money is power. Money is the only weapon that the Jew has to defend himself with.
Look how Jewy this fag is. All right, Supreme Rabbi Satan, which means I probably missed other ones. If I missed your chat, just know that it's not. I'm not being a dick. It's just it's not showing up in my list. All right, what do you say? You say oy vey, Africanized beehive? No, I thought I did that one. That sounds familiar. Maybe I didn't. I don't understand the question, though. You say, oy vey, Africanized beehive. Yeah, I thought I did that one. That sounds familiar. Unless you did another one that I don't see. Is there another one that's in here that I don't see? I don't think so. Yeah, I think I did that one. But let me see if there's another one I might have missed. Let's see here. Did that one. Pretty sure I got that one. Yeah, got that one. Yeah, no, I didn't skip it. Unless I'm going crazy. I thought for sure I did that one. All right. Well, if I did skip it, maybe I am going crazy. I apologize. All right, then we got Nog Stomper. Nog Stomper says, hey, Dev, catching up on the streams, and holy shit, the Jew broad banging the retarded Nog was nuts. Imagine the husband's face as he finds out he's been cucked by a drooling nig in a diaper. Cheers, man. Yeah, he did not sound too happy in his statement that the judge read from him. Not at all. Then we got TMK 1335 says, the recent Epstein file should be all the justification need to cut all ties with Israel, expel Jews from our government. They present a clear and undeniable threat to our sovereignty, but we aren't. Ejecting from Jews isn't even on the table, and suggesting it would still end your livelihood. If not now, when? I would argue never. There is no detaching from them without collapse. And you're right. That's I would say that is the correct way of viewing it. I think things are going to be destabilizing just generally. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think things will destabilize. And I think that the best we can do is get people to understand the role that they played, so that when there is a opportunity to, separate, if you will, there'll be more people that will be educated on that topic. All right. Then we got, Discar the Evil says, I realized I was criminally retarded in my question last stream, reworded the following message. Okay, and the following message is, with Christianity having a seldom discussed pedo prophet, Isaac, what's your take on some of potential cultural repercussions of that being in the fine print of a foundational religion in the West? I don't even know what you're talking. I just don't know the Bible well enough. Isaac. Let's see what is I mean, look, there's so many weird things in the Bible that people just wave away. I don't think this will. I mean, that's not going to make any difference. Let's see here. Let's see here. What is the? I'm not seeing what you're saying here. But again, this is AI because I don't know the Bible and I don't know how you would look up Isaac's underage wife. But according to what I'm seeing just from this quick search, Isaac was 40 and he married Rebecca. And Rebecca. It says the Bible never states Rebecca's age at the time of the marriage. There is no mention of her being a small child, toddler, or anything criminally young by modern standards. The claim that she was 3 years old, or sometimes 3 to 10, comes from a specific interpretation some people make by chaining together events. Sarah, Isaac's mother, died at 127, and she was 90 when Isaac was born. Isaac was 37 at Sarah's death. Some assume Rebekah's birth is announced right around the binding of Isaac or tied closely to Sarah's death, leading to the idea that she was born when Isaac was 37. Then, since he married at 40, she'd be 3. However, this calculation is not required by the text. The Bible doesn't link Rebekah's birth directly to those events in a way that forces such a young age. The narrative in Genesis portrays her as physically strong, hospitable, and yeah, so I guess that's what it is that, and that's one, honestly, that's one of the biggest problems with the Bible is you can interpret it so many different ways because of it's 2,000 years old. Or you know what I mean? It's like there's just it's 2,000 years old. It's been written over and over and over a bunch of times and translated a bunch of times. Maybe the math, I mean, I don't know. According to this, the math is one interpretation, but my guess is Christians would not interpret it that way. Let me put it this way: if there's a way to not interpret it that way, then they're not going to interpret it that way. So I don't think it's something that they would even think about. The only way that it would be culturally significant is if that was just like a accepted aspect of the, like it was just accepted that he married a 3-year-old or whatever. And even then people would say, oh, well, it was an arranged marriage. That it wasn't like he was having sex with her when she was 3. You know what I mean? And like Muslims will say, right, about the 9-year-old wife that Muhammad had. So I don't think it would make a difference. Honestly, I don't think people would, they explain away a lot of other things that this would be not hard to explain away. And like apparently Grok is trying to explain it away. So, I don't think it's, I think it's insignificant in terms of culture, because the only way it'd be significant is if it was, if that was just accepted, right? Like if that's just how people interpreted it and didn't care, that, oh, well, yeah, of course he was fucking a 3-year-old, then that'd be culturally significant, but I don't think anyone interprets it that way. All right. Then we got Die Car the Evil says, it's more of a question to Cimarron. I'm not surprised civilizational conversion happened in late Rome, renowned for gay and pedo allowance. Heil Hitler and, well, let's see here. This is why I need my buttons fixed.
Heil Hitler, bitch!
There. All right. Then we got D-Man. D-Man says the answer Mace. What was the question? What was the question, D-Man? And then we got Zazzy McTazbot says, thanks for the shows. Love the old movies. Well, I appreciate that. And then we got D. Mitch says, oil of smoke. Might as well be one of those wacky Rumble ads. Honestly, that's what I had in mind when I made that. Oil of smoke might as well be one of those wacky Rumble ads you get that rope in all the schizos. It would fit right in with the rest of the ads. Well, that's why I made it like that. I tried to make it look like one of these Rumble ads to kind of illustrate how this kind of shit's still going on. People are still buying oil of smoke to cure their son's leg, to stop it from being amputated. And the science behind it is just as good as, having some hypnotic guy who goes into a trance and astral projects into your son's leg and then to some pharmacist across town. Then we got Gen X Exterminator says, MK Ultra for the Goy. Everything spin. I think so. Media blitz with the Zionist twist. I think so. I don't believe that Epstein is dead now. I don't believe that Epstein is dead. Well, I'll tell you what. I kind of don't either. Just because he seems like he was on very friendly terms with pretty much everybody, behind the scenes. The fact that he's like good buddies with, it appears as though he's good buddies with Bannon. He's good buddies with, and like, there's not any kind of like confrontational aspect to the relationship with these higher ups after he's arrested behind the scenes. They all publicly distance themselves for political purposes, but behind the scenes, they seem to be buddy. In fact, including, Lutnick, for example, we talked about last stream. Howard Lutnick made up some story about meeting him and thinking he was super creepy and then never hanging out with him again after 2005, even though he's his next door fucking neighbor. And then we find out as recently, 2015 or something like that. So, this is way, after all, this is like almost right before he gets arrested, the second time. Lutnick is bringing his kids to go hang out with Epstein on his boat. So it's like, I kind of feel like, yeah, I think that they put on a little show. They put on a little show for the Goyim and whisked him away back to Israel. I don't believe, I have no proof. I have no way of knowing that that's what happened. I no longer think that's schizo. And I think, I didn't think it was schizo before. I thought it was, I don't know. I thought it was kind of 50-50 because I thought that, well, they would just as easily kill someone. And they will kill their friends. Obama, when he ran for president, all the gay guys in his church that he was having sex with got execution style murdered, shot in the back of the head, during his campaign. So, they'll kill people to get them out of the way if they're going to be a problem later. Even if there's someone that is giving you a blowjob. So, I was thinking like, well, maybe they just killed him because that was easier. But, just because of he was on such friendly terms with so many people and connected to so many people that were high up, I kind of, and they seemed like they genuinely liked the guy, right? They seemed like they all liked him. None of them were talking like he was they weren't talking about it privately, at least. They weren't talking about him like he was a pariah. They were talking about him like he was a nice guy. And so I kind of feel like, especially because it happened under Trump, who was Epstein's friend, a longtime friend, and it happened with Bill Barr, whose father hired Epstein. And so they're all connected. Bill Barr, who, by the way, also hid the sniper that shot the woman at Ruby Ridge. He's the one that whisked him away and put him into like some, federal witness protection program type thing. So why wouldn't he do the same thing for Epstein? I just find it hard to believe that they wouldn't just do that. Because and the missing time in the video. So it just makes sense. I mean, no matter what, he obviously didn't kill himself. So, yeah. And it makes you wonder, is Ghislaine even, is there any evidence that she's in jail? Do we know that she's actually in jail? I don't know. Maybe she is. Maybe there's evidence of it. But it makes you wonder what's going on there too. All right, then we got Tom O'Hawk. Tom O'Hawk says, gonna catch the replay with everything coming out in the files. It's not a good time to wear a small hat. No, it's not. Then we got Rocco D2 says, have you heard about the Chabad Lubavitch cabal? These are, well, obviously, these are the string pullers. They have a very specific angular menorah. You can see it all over the State House in the USA. Yeah, the Chabad is it's Russian, and it's it's like the Russian Jew society, basically, right? But yeah, there's big connections between Chabad and Trump. And some, I don't know, like at least there's some connections to Chabad and Epstein. Then we got the Shogun. The Shogun says, /is in the chat. Hail Professor Stack. Well, I appreciate that. Now I'm going to go back to the normal window where I usually see these things and make sure I was in the backup window that whole time. All right, we got that one. We got that one. We got that one. We got that one. All right, I don't think I did this one. D-Man says, I'll need a rain check on this stream as I got things to do tomorrow. The following message has to answer to a joke I'm about to tell you. My dad just told me. What? Oh, well, that's why it made any sense. I just saw the answer, not the. I forgot what the answer was though. So there we go. What I'm about to. My dad told me, what do blacks smell like after sex? And the answer is mace. Now that makes sense. There we go. There's the hidden context. See, it's a fucking nightmare. Fucking Rumble is a nightmare when it comes to just telling you who fucking sent you a super. Like it seems like it should be like the easiest goddamn thing in the world for it to do, and it's a nightmare. All right, so let's see here. Got that one. Got that one. Got that one. That one's showing up twice for some reason. See, it's because it's a fucking nightmare. Here we go. We got the Chabad one. Scroll. Assuming the chat. Oh, here we go. I think this is a new one. Nope, we got that one. There we go. There's the new one. We got Digital Arms Oral, I think. Says, I have tried to get myself involved with talking with groypers, and they are far from saving. On X Space, they try to explain that Nick Fuentes has better optics, yet say that glazing Epstein is satire. Yeah, no, it's like I said, the entire thing is Nick took a deal. Nick's kind of a pussy, doesn't want to get assassinated, or whatever, or likes Jew gold or whatever. I don't know. I don't know why he did it, but he took the deal. And they knew these files were going to come out and that it was going to look bad. And that it was going to create a lot of pissed off people. And it was going to create a lot of rage. And that would be bad. And we need to always maintain the status quo. Oh, and now that you're in the club, Nick, it's actually beneficial for you if you maintain the status quo too. Because we're going to make you a part of this, status quo system. You're going to benefit from it. So you got to maintain it. And one of the ways we need you to maintain that is to soften the blow. Make it all into a joke. you can come up with some stupid reason about, oh, no, we're just memeing because people are ignoring the connection to Israel. No one's ignoring the connection to Israel, you dumb fucks. Like, that's the stupidest excuse in the world. I don't see anyone not doing that. The handful of, like, weird magatards that aren't blaming Israel will never blame Israel for anything. And and telling them that Epstein was cool is like the last that's like the least persuasive way to get them to oh, in that case, it's Israel. Like, it doesn't make any sense. What you're saying doesn't make any sense. Okay. And that's why, by the way, so many of them, when you ask them about it, what do they say? Well, you watch the show. You got to watch the show. Why? Because they can't explain it either. Because they're running off feels. All they know is when they watch the show and Nick explains it, and it doesn't make any sense still, but it makes them feel good. It makes them feel good. And so they want you to watch the show so that you'll also feel good in the same way they feel good when they watch the show. They feel good about it. But it does, if it made any sense at all, they would just be able to explain how it makes sense, but they can't. So all they do is they'll either repeat, like they always do, some kind of line that Nick gave them, just here you go, update your firmware here's the 5 phrases that you reply to every tweet with. So either do one of these 5 phrases, say something about aura or something like that. And by the way, it's all irony because low IQ anti-Semites and Israel. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm not a fucking idiot, and I understand humor. I understand persuasion, and that's like the least persuasive thing in the fucking world to do. To sell Epstein, especially now, like, I doubt this is just bad timing, right? I doubt that. And here's the other weird thing. Remember how it took like 6 fucking months to come up with a hat? Like, why is it that Nick Fuentes, it took him 6 months or more, like a year, to come up with a fucking stupid hat that just said America First on it? Couldn't make hats, right? It was like and really, let's face it. The reason why is because he's an actual homosexual, and he was playing. I'm going to emulate Ye. I'm going to be like Ye. I know Ye gets super particular when he's making merch. Well, Ye's merch was made by Adidas and like teams of designers. And because Nick, that's the guy he looks up to. He wants to be like that. He was probably being some kind of prima donna faggot when working with the manufacturer and couldn't just say, make some goddamn blue hats that say America First and have a fucking flag on it. But notice how that took for fucking ever, right? That took for oh my God, we couldn't just sell some goddamn hats. But suddenly, overnight almost, there's the Epstein sweater. Oh, like within a couple of days, I have that. Unless that took 6 months too, and this is a plan that you've been going for a long time, but I don't think maybe that is the case. I don't think it is. So that's a little weird, right? Suddenly overnight, you're able to make merch like in a way that would have been a lot harder to do, by the way. Would have been a lot more difficult to come up with that than a fucking hat that just says America First. So, fuck off, Groypers. You guys are retarded. You guys are fucking getting sold down the river and you don't even see it. You are the stupid goyim. And it's obvious why he hates you. It's obvious. It's funny that he got you guys to call yourselves niggers too. That is the funniest shit. Oh no, but we're white ass niggers going hard as fuck. Yeah, you're calling yourself niggers because you are. You're basically fucking niggers. And sorry, I bet a lot of you guys saying white ass niggers. Yeah, you should be probably saying brown ass niggers. So anyway, this is. It's insane to see. But look, when you have a cult of personality, it doesn't matter. Reason goes out the window. It's like with Trump. Look how it'll last a long time. You're not going to get anywhere with these people in the same way you wouldn't get anywhere with the same magatards that people are mad at because they won't look at Israel. It's the same thing. They believe that Trump is Jesus. They believe in the X-22 report or whatever the fuck. I don't even know who's still 100% on board with that shit. But there's a huge chunk of Republicans who will never make that connection because they just like Trump, because Trump. And that's how you got to look at the Groypers. They're just as fucking mindless. They're just mindless drones that just like Nick because Nick. And that's it. And that's it. And they say it too. It's not like they don't say that. They say it. Not because they're self-aware, because they think that like their loyalty will somehow pay off someday. And by the way, that's the other fucking thing that's funny. There's influencers in the influencer sphere that suck up to him every day, hoping that someday if he does like somehow gain power, that they can somehow get a piece. They can get one of those little fucking table scraps. Yeah, and it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing when you see some of these people do it, but whatever. But yeah, it's just not worth it. It's like I said on X, I just started blocking all of them. And there's not very many of them like that you have to block. It's not like I had to block thousands of people like you would think, right? No, you block like 50. There's like 50 accounts. There's like 50 accounts that are the crazy accounts. And a lot of them are sock accounts. It's easy to tell. All you have to do, go to their profile. If their entire profile is just boy band pictures of Nick and their entire feed is just retweeting Nick stuff, okay, that's obviously not like a real person. And if it is, they're not a reasonable person. So, you can block that person or, whatever that is. Or it's someone that has like 0 followers. They follow maybe, 10 people. They've got same thing, either nothing in their timeline or it's all just retweeting Nick stuff. So, you like I said, you block like 50 of these and your whole timeline changes. You don't even see this shit. Like, I don't even see this shit anymore. I don't even see it anymore. It's great. It's kind of refreshing. And you do us all a favor when you do it because it knocks back their in the algorithm. If lots of people are blocking the same accounts, those accounts just don't show up in the algorithm as much anyway. So it's just, when you argue with these people, it's just not worth it. If it's like a normal person that doesn't have like the Groiper avatar and their whole bio is just like, oh, I love Nick and I'm a white ass nigger. And if it's not just like just copy pasted fandom personality, all right, it's worth talking to them. But the people that they're just Swifties, they're basically they're Nickties. It's not worth it. Digital Arms, Oral says they are far from, where did that one? Or is this in the second half? I'm trying to get my friend to understand that Nick is not a positive influence just because he's able to get people to identify the Jews. Jay's definitely prepared for optics. You mean optics again? I mean, look, I don't know. Like the irony is that Nick used to just cry about optics, like he was king of the optics cucks. And even just this last summer or back in October, rather, he was crying about that guy dressed as a Nazi on Halloween. Like, oh, that's terrible optics. By the way, buy my Epstein sweater. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to make sense to these people. It doesn't matter. The Shogun says, I've been so fucking blackpilled lately, especially after the whole Nick situation, as well as the left and right mixing propaganda about Jews and Israel. Do you think we're losing the narrative? I mean, what narrative? Depends on what narrative you're talking about. I think that enough people are look, it's 80-20. 80% of the population is a bunch of fucking retards. And that's not who you worry. You don't worry about the retards. You worry about the smart people. You worry about that 20%. And you focus on those 20% because the 20% are the people that make the world go round anyway. And the stupid people, the other 80%, they just go along with whatever's happening. It's like kind of like how saying anything about Jews was radioactive for several years. For most of the years I was doing this. And then all of a sudden, the taboo is gone. And so the same people that were calling me a Nazi, racist bigot are now like, dropping Jew this, Jew that every 5 seconds. So they'll just go along with whatever the narrative is anyway. So I don't know. I think that because there is no political solution, I mean, that should be the narrative. The narrative should be there is no political solution. And in order for people to understand that, stuff like the Epstein files really pushes that narrative, I think. I think when people see the kind of corruption that's going on behind the scenes at the level that it's going on at, that's precisely the narrative that's being pushed. Is that like, oh, look, you elected Trump thinking that he was going to, go after the pedo elite or whatever it is. Which is the reason why you shouldn't try to like shit on that, on that aspect. You want to not have the schizo right on your side. Why? You want the schizo right on your side, because those are the people that are gonna, they're more radical than the most radical groiper. I'll tell you that much right now. The schizo right is a force to be reckoned with, and the last thing you want to do is piss them off. You want to encourage their schizoness to some extent, while you tell the 20%, the smart people, all right, like this particular email, for example, is dumb. This isn't about, this clearly isn't proof that anyone was eating babies. Here's why. Like, you want to keep the smart people grounded. But if there's like a bunch of spurgs out there freaking out about eating babies, I'm not that mad about it. I'm not. That doesn't hurt that doesn't hurt our cause. How does it hurt our cause? If we're trying to get people to realize that there's no fixing this, how has it hurt our cause? There's like a sizable number of people that think that the elites are eating babies. And look, they might be eating babies. That's the other thing too, is maybe that email isn't exactly, that's not proof of it. And maybe that particular, clinging to that particular email is a lot of these messages I see getting posted. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you guys are way misinterpreting. And some of that stuff should be called out if it's extra stupid, because if it's extra stupid, we don't need people that are just complete morons. We want to keep people at least, tethered to reality a little bit. Right. But look, if it gets people thinking that, we elected Trump, and here Trump is, and here's Howard Lutnick, and here's all these other important people. Here's Dan Bongino saying there was nothing in there. Now here's all this stuff in there. If the whole dream team that MAGA thought was going to stop the pedo elite gets into office, and now suddenly that same MAGA group thinks that they're all satanic pedophiles, how is that bad? How is that bad? I mean, doesn't that do exactly like the whole thing you need to accomplish in order to get anywhere? Because it's not going to get there by voting, which the Trump presidency is pretty much proven. You're not going to get there by voting. So if you have to get there another way, isn't that kind of great that people think that the system's so bad that they elected who they thought was going to fix it, and they turned out to be eating babies? Isn't that like kind of a good thing? I don't know. Call me crazy, but it just seems like pretty easy math there. That seems like pretty fucking easy math. Unless, of course, you're trying to maintain the status quo. Unless, of course, you are trying to further your own wealth and power and possible future political career. And for that to be possible, you're going to have to maintain the political system. Unless you don't actually want to solve the problem, then by all means, what you should do is try to fracture these groups of people that would normally be on your side, and ridicule them, and try to create chaos and soften the actual impact that the Epstein files would otherwise have. And by the way, kind of helpful if you can do that with the younger men, because old men don't fight revolutions. That's not who fights in the revolution. So if you can get the younger men to think that Epstein was actually cool, well, that makes a lot of powerful people breathe a lot easier. All right, we got Digital Arms Oral say, I don't know how to exactly get the point across to my... Oh, wait, already did that one. See, this is the other thing, it duplicates shit. Cage Mushinjaro says, reading Mein Kampf, so interesting. Yeah, I read that a while ago. Or at least I had the audiobook. Whenever I do a book that's an audiobook, it doesn't stick as much as if you actually read it. And this was almost 10 years ago now. So I should probably at least give it another listen, right? Digital Arm says, I've been listening to you and Nick since 2021. I stopped listening to Nick that same year when rumors and sources started coming out with the gay shit he's done. What a fucking sellout he is. Well, I mean, look, he's obviously homosexual, and he's obviously made a deal. So, I mean, that's just, sorry, I'm not, that's just factual. Like, even if you like the guy, it's kind of hard to say that he's not gay, okay? At this point, like, and by the way, everyone thinks it. Everyone privately thinks it. Like everyone, even the people that like him, everyone. I mean, like everyone I've ever talked to. Everyone I have ever talked to has at minimum thought it was highly possible. At minimum. Just telling you right now, everyone. So that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. The fact that he sold out, like I said, I noticed it last summer. After they tried to kill him, you know, or whoever they is, I don't know, was that an MK Ultra thing? Was that just some lone psycho? I don't know. But someone tried to kill him, and I think that kind of changed things for him. So, you know, if he's not willing to die for it, he's not willing to die for it, I guess. Digital Arms Oral says, I sincerely apologize for sending so many chats and then not being at $20 plus. I'm getting ready for training and wanted to say you are one of the last standing. Please don't ever disappear. Thank you. Well, with all these $1 super chats, how can I do? I'm just kidding. No, I have no plans on disappearing or having some weird scandal. By the way, I just want to say, I'm just a normal guy, just for the record, which is evident in when you see people who are angry with me, like when the Groypers or just some rando gets mad at me on Twitter. What do they always say? Oh yeah, well, you're old. You're old and you live in the desert and you have bees. Okay, there you go, guys. There it is. There's all the. Oh my God. I'm old. I'm not. First of all, I'm not as old as they're saying either, but I'm old. I'm older than the Groypers by a significant amount. And yeah, I have bees. That's a secret. And I live in the desert. Also not a secret. There's parts of my life that are secret, but they're not like things that would make me look bad. In fact, they're things that make me look cool. So I'll tell you that. There's never going to be like the secret Devin Stack tape that comes out and turns out I'm like, you know, some bad guy or something like that. So, you know, there's that. I've never been up to, you know, no good. I'm actually kind of just like a normal dude, like most of you guys, right? Like, although I bet some of you guys have some skeletons in your closet, but yeah, there's no big own. And like I said, it's funny to me. It's like, do you feel like a psycho when those are like your big like owns, when like, oh yeah, you're old and you have bees and you own your own house in the desert? Like, do you ever stop and think like, wait a second, that's not like, none of that's like bad. like where, maybe I'm being a psycho right now by like I'm just describing things about you. I'm not like, these aren't like secrets or gotchas, or it's just, I'm just saying, you know, you might as well say that I've got like, I'm right-handed, and you're right-handed and over 6 feet tall. You're right-handed and over 6 feet tall. And you have a cat. Actually, some people say that. Although, pray for Churro. He's been gone like 4 days. I know that's not like a record by any means. And this time of year especially, because this is usually when he's out spreading his seed. But I always worry about him when he's gone for more than a couple of days. But I'm sure he'll find his way back. Maybe it'll be in 5 months. Who knows with this guy. Anyway, yeah, no plans on disappearing here. All right, then we got Cage Mushin Juro says, peaceandquiet.io is a great website. Filter out the nogs. Okay, I cannot endorse it because I don't know what that is. Cage Mushin Juro says, Fuentes is controlled. White's IRL is the only way. Well, and look, the thing is he's not white, and he doesn't identify as white, and I'm not saying that. He's saying that. He has said that multiple times recently in very public venues. So I'm going to take him at his word. He doesn't identify as a white guy. He identifies as mixed race. He says his best friend is a Jew. He says he thinks Jews are some of the smartest people and that they have a place in America. And he thinks that, that we should also be inclusive of brown people. How he's any different than a basic bitch Republican from maybe you could say he's kind of like Buchanan in the 90s. And maybe that's what it is. He's just like Buchanan in the 90s, where he's a conservative from the 90s that didn't like how Jews had too much influence, right? Like maybe that's what it is. And that's all it is. That's not what I'm about. And I don't think that's what a lot of you are about. So it's not even the same quote unquote movement. He's going to just be the Catholic Ben Shapiro. Well, he already is. He is. It's no longer he's going to be. He is. He's the Catholic Ben Shapiro. Gold contract and everything. The Shogun says, well, it seemed as though the actual truth was on the rise, but now it's being nerfed. But you basically answered my question already. There you go. Yeah, I don't think that... Look, the idea, and I've said this many times, the idea that the normies are going to wake up and suddenly throw off their chains and kick the Jews out, that's never going to happen. That's the thing, too. People will straw man me by saying that, that's my plan or something. Like, no, that's never in a million years going to fucking happen. That's never... In fact, that's part of why there is no political solution, because that won't ever happen. There's no political path to that. Okay? And so once you realize there's no political path to that, and okay, you could say, well, that's because that's so extreme. Well, there's no political path to a majority white country. Are you going to say that's extreme now? Well, Nick was too afraid to say that a year ago, but he's not too afraid to say that now. And ask a Groyper, they will tell you that that's political fantasy land, that you'll never go back to a white supermajority. They've just accepted it. So while they were denying that a year ago, when I was bringing up the fact that a white supermajority is something that should be a main objective of whites, they were like, oh, no, we'll do it. And I kept saying, well, there's no political path to that. You're not going to get non-whites to vote for a white supermajority to happen again. And they'd say, well, you're just black-pilled. Well, now they're telling me that they're black-pilled and then they don't care about it. They don't care that that's impossible. And they still want a political solution to what? To what exactly? To what? I mean, is it just to not have as much Israeli influence? Is that your big plan? Is that your big... You want everything to be the same and just not as much Israel influence? I mean, I don't know. Who even fucking knows? Negro Spritzers obviously tells us what he thinks about people like Kanye West, people like Ben Shapiro, people like Andrew Tate, people like Tonto, people like Vivek Ramaswamy, people like Andrew Yang, people like Nick Fuentes, people like Blair White, and then says, Happy Black History Month. Well, I appreciate that. All right, then we go back to Entropy. Hammer Thorazine. All right, Hammer Thorazine with one of the new ones. Hammer Thorazine says, I'm 99% sure the Epstein-Bannon interview is mostly or entirely AI. His mouth movements are the tell for me. I'm hardly seeing anyone question it. We might be in the dangerous stage of AI, being advanced enough that it is hard to detect, but with most people still being confident in their own detection abilities. I don't know. I didn't get that vibe. But I look, the AI that we have that I'm using on Grok and stuff is not as advanced as whatever they would have access to. I don't know why it would have to be AI though, because we knew years ago that Bannon did an interview with him. The interview doesn't have anything in it that, like, it just seems boring. And look, the part that they leaked out seems kind of boring. And I think there's maybe people trying to, just like many of the emails, make mountains out of molehills out of certain things. But the reason why that wasn't clipped all to shit the first day that it was released is there's no big thing in it. I watched the whole fucking boring thing. And look, I'm not saying there's nothing in it, but there's nothing that's like, that's new. You know, like, okay, we kind of understand that he is in the technology and the financial system. And look, it just doesn't, I don't see why it would need to be AI, because there's nothing in there that you couldn't just get him to say. You know what I mean? And Bannon is clearly friends with him. I mean, unless I guess your argument could be maybe it makes him look more normal by making him just talk about boring normal stuff. But I don't know what that accomplishes either. You know, it's like, okay, well, it's so boring that no one's going to watch it really. Most people aren't going to watch it, you know. Like, I watched it and it was just, I was just hoping there'd be something in there that would be worth clipping out, and there just wasn't. You know, but again, like I said, there's people that are gonna like, oh, look, he says this and it means that. It's like, not really. It was just some boring. You know, if there was anything I got out of it, was just these guys aren't smarter than everybody else. You know, like there wasn't some big brain take. You know, like most of the shit he was talking about, it was all very Reddit tier, you know, pseudo intellectual bullshit. You know, he wasn't like totally wrong with everything, but like it wasn't, you know, at no point during the interview was like, oh, wow, whoa, that's insight. Or even like, not even that his opinion would be insightful, but the fact that he had a certain opinion would be, no, it was just like, yeah, I feel like I've worked with people like this, you know, like I feel like, cause look, I've worked with somewhat, you know, I've worked with very upper class and some powerful people over the years, just doing the kind of work that I do. And they're just, you know, like rich people are just, it's most of the time they're not rich because they're smarter than everybody else. They're not. Like sometimes, you know, there are people like that, but a lot of them are just rich because they got lucky, or they have generational wealth, or maybe they're a little bit psychotic, right? Like they don't you know, their hobby is just, you know, making money. Like that's literally all they care about. Which also makes them kind of boring and kind of dumb, because it doesn't take a genius to make a lot of money. If you have no desire to have any other aspect to your life, anyone can make a ton of money. If that's all you care about, like if all you want to do is make money, anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. So yeah, anyway, maybe there's some way to detect it, but I just don't see what would be the point of it. Then we got 1488 says, you are forgetting something very important. This month is Black History Month. We need to be told about the lavish history of Negroes, according to Kikes. Well, like I've done some pretty big ones about Black History Month, but maybe we'll revisit it, right? Let's see here. Then we got, I think, a couple more on, or one more here on Rumble. Rumble says, or we got Cage Mushinjaro says, Elite Theory says it's always a minority that breaks through and conquers the majority. As a white minority, this can be on the table eventually. Glad I made this one. Yeah, I think that's what we can look forward to. Is like I've always said, we got to be training our John Connors. We got to be raising our John Connors and getting ready for Skynet and all that stuff. But in the meantime, there's no voting your way out of it, and there's no silver bullet that's going to wake everybody up to the pedo elites, and then we're going to overthrow the government, or that's not going to happen either. That's never how it happens, and it's never going to be. We get alternatively, it's never going to be. Well, we elected a bunch of secret groypers, and now they control the Supreme Court. Like, that's not going to happen either. So really, it's what you can do now is focus on building your personal dynasty, building generational wealth and security more than wealth for your family, and raising your kid to be prepared for what's coming and not have to go through a big portion of their life or even a small portion of their life trying to deprogram all the Jewish bullshit that many of us had to go through. That there's, people, I mean, there are still a lot of people that I guess they're boomers in training, right? There's Gen Xers and millennials that are going to get old and never see it. But a lot of us that have gone through it and woken up, there's a big chunk of your life that you would have done differently had you already understood how things worked. So just don't put your children in that same position. Make sure that they're able to, have a good head start on life. Do the thing that the boomers didn't do for their kids. And do it financially too. Try to get them to understand money at a young age. And look, I think there's gonna be some weird economic shit going. There's weird economic shit going on right now, right? With the Bitcoin thing. Anyway, let's take one more look. Make sure we're not missing anybody. All right, I think we're good. All right. Well, hopefully you guys had a interesting time learning about Mr. Bernstein here and his success in business. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week. We'll be back here on Saturday, possibly to celebrate Black History Month. I'll have to look and see if I can find something new and interesting. I don't want to just do like black people are violent. I want to do something. I want to find something cool. And so it's just not the same kind of garbage. Like hopefully tonight was, something cool, not garbage. All right, guys, you guys have a good rest of your evening or morning or afternoon or whatever. In the meantime, for Black Pilled, I am, of course, Devin Stang.
What happened that you happened to come to the hospital?
I was out riding in my car with two other people going down this hill when all of a sudden it turned over. And I was arrested, of course, for that, And they were going to turn me loose, except that they called in and said the Army had AWOL out on me, which is a lie, of course. But they arrested me there and took me here under escort.
Why do you think they brought you to a psychiatric hospital?
Orders from somewhere else, I would assume.
Did you do anything that they might have misinterpreted as being, something that you should have been brought to a psychiatric hospital?
Well, mostly fear is why they didn't want to hang on to me too long.
What were they afraid of?
Well, I'm a known killer. Where they come from, so,
What do you mean?
It's a pretty touchy thing being around me if you're on the wrong side. They don't relish having a hold of me unless I'm inside of a cage or something.
What do you mean that you're a known killer?
I have killed.
How many people have you killed?
Several hundreds.
Where did you kill them?
Chicago, Detroit, New York, Mississippi Gulf, California, Texas.
Why did you kill them?
Because they were in the act of violent crimes.
Like what?
Like murder, rape, brutal beatings, extortion, illicit drug trafficking.
Did you kill them?
Yes.
To prevent them from doing that, or what?
Well, when it got back to their leaders, it did stop quite a few illegal events from happening.
What do you mean by their leaders?
Their highest in command.
Are you talking about the mafia or what?
Yes, indeed. Mafiosi, Cosa Nostra. They used to be the same, but they're no longer. They divided up in this nation, and a few from other nations that were stepping on illegal grounds for information-gathering purposes.
What made you decide to take it into your own hands to do that?
I was the highest-ranking official at the time.
Highest-ranking official in what?
In intelligence.
Oh, so you work in intelligence?
Yes.
What were you doing when you were in the car that crashed?
I was enjoying myself by self-medicating myself with hashish. I am the best. I am the highest IQ'd. I am the best reader and the best leader in the comp forces.
Do you ever have the feeling that all of a sudden some alien forces withdraw all the thoughts from your head?
That has occurred once or twice, yes.